Hello, beautiful souls and magical beings. Welcome here to this space at Wellness Wave Creations. And today, as I'm recording this on the 12th portal, December the 12th, and it's just 12 seconds on my clock, I wanted to talk to you guys today about the doshas. If you've ever heard anything about Ayurveda, then you must have heard about the doshas. And the doshas are basic physiological energy forces that will be determined at conception. So when conception happens, at that moment, the basic information is implanted into that energetic force that that baby is going to be born with, that determines not only the physical structures and functioning tendencies of that human being, but also that person's psychology or behavioral tendencies are fixed or coded into this default system, if you will. So today my thoughts are on the Pancha Mahabhuta, which is the 5-element theory. And I just want to remind you one more time what that means. There's ether, and a lot of people ask me, by the way, what ether is. Well, ether is space. Ether, when you're talking about a lot of spiritual stuff, then it's the ethereal space or ethereal realm. So ether is the space that allows the other 4 elements to actually be, to exist, to experience, which are air, and then fire, and then water, and then earth. So these are the 5 elements, and the ancient rishis, some 5,000, maybe more years ago, have seen and experienced nature and the world around them and understood them based on these 5 elements. They understood that everything is made up of these 5 elements, but these 5 elements are not just a physical thing where we imagine earth to be earth and water to be water and fire to be fire and air to be air, but also they are metaphorically represent certain things. So you need to understand that when we're talking about earth, then it represents the idea of stability or groundedness, while when we talk about air, it represents the idea of thoughts and movement. Everything in the body is moved with the force of air energetics, like the blood circulation or the lymphatic circulation, or the thoughts that are circulating in the mind, or the neurotransmitters that are circulating the communication, with the assistance of fire that gives it electrical charge and impulses. So I want you guys to imagine that the elements are not just in their physical realm, but in their subtle ways and forms, how we understand everything on the planet Earth and in the universe as well. Okay, so that's the Pancha Mahabhuta and the basis of Ayurvedic knowledge. So why is this important in terms of the doshas? That is because then it was understood that these elements are paired into a certain default system. Air and ether form the dosha that we call vata. And water and earth form the energetics of kapha. And fire, and mostly fire, with a little bit of water that surrounds it, gives it a container, a security so it doesn't spread. It's called pitta. So the physiology of a human being is governed by these three doshas. So imagine, for example, when we understand that someone has a lot of air and ether energetics to them, it usually shows up in the physical structures as that they're lanky, tall, long arms, long legs, okay, oblong face, very little nose, thin lips, and so on and forth. So, while when we understand someone to have a lot of kapha energies, a lot of stability in their physical structure, then we often understand that they could have maybe a short neck, or they could be stocky like a little bulldog, or they're also very reliable. They've got fuller lips and maybe really dense hair. Okay, so then what you need to understand that every single one of us is created with this message, which then, if it is fixed and coded at conception, then you might want to understand that this carries a certain information package. It's like a little biospiritual chip that is within us, and it shows up in our physical appearance, in our structure. It shows up in our psychology, its tendencies, and we bring these tendencies and this information package with us, not without a reason, but on purpose. We're sorted this information for us to have, and this is called our constitution. So if you've been following any of my work here on the YouTube channel or on my Facebook page, we'll link here it for you. And please join into my Vibe Tribe, like, subscribe, follow. And then you can see that I have been speaking quite a lot about what I call the wellness code. What the heck is she talking about? What is the wellness code? Well, that is the specific constitutional default system of how your body is, how your functioning is, what your tendencies are that you received at conception. And that is really powerful if you really, really think about it. And that information package will determine a lot of how you have to live in a harmonious way with your default system. So if you deviate away from your default system, then you're going to be causing a disharmonious state for you, for your entire biofield. So therefore, knowing your constitution, knowing your wellness code, knowing that information package, understanding that biospiritual information, information load that you were given will give you an enormous amount of power of self-understanding, self-awareness, self-realization. It's gonna make this whole game of spiritual growth or ascension processes or raising your level of consciousness a very different ball game. And I mean, I feel that if we have a board game, then and we don't understand the rules, then how well can you play that game? While if you do understand the rules well, and then you know how to actually play the game, so it's not even to just understand the actual rules, but know how to apply that in the game, then you will likely win that game. Same thing happens here. If you have that innate understanding of your own system, of your own tendencies, and there's so much more to be talked about this in relation to karma clearing, multi-generational trauma clearing, generational imprints to be understood. And then in the context of inherited diseases, this will have a significant role. When we understand these processes, then we'll be able to work with these processes. We will understand our own rules of this own game, so then we can adjust and adapt and modify or make better decisions. In fact, we will understand that there's just certain things that are not going to work for us. So we're not going to put ourselves into situations like that. I want to give you a very hands-on example. And that example is from my own experience. I always have been a person who just could not be jolly in the mornings. Okay, all right, no, I like to sleep. So when I woke up in the mornings, and then I would be just an awful human being for about 45 minutes, or until at least one coffee, or at least some time had to pass before I would pass that morning fog out of my brains or out of my biofield, and I would just kind of come alive. Okay, I also would be innately a night owl kind of person. So I would read to 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. without any problems for many moons. Okay, so then I know that I will never schedule a morning appointment for you. Okay, it's not going to happen. Because if I did that, I actually would likely not be at my best. So I will not subject you to it, but I also will not subject myself to that kind of situation. So I rearranged my life. I am much better now, and I have worked at this really a lot since I have been more physically active. I'm in the gym, I weight lift, I do some other things, the way I eat. I arranged different things in my lifestyle that favors my mornings better. I still don't schedule anybody into the morning, but I do other kinds of work that I am able to successfully do in the morning times, and I start scheduling my business life or my patient clients or my client sessions from, let's say, noon onwards into the afternoon to the early evening, because that suits me better. But there could be another person for whom this would be just a disastrous setup, and they would like to start early in the morning, and they love getting up at 5 a.m., and they love to be in the gym at 6 a.m. I would simply just not be able to ever do that. Like, that would be just a no-no. So once we understand certain physical and psychological tendencies about our own selves, then that will give us these amazing set of tools for our wellness. And this will go for anything and everything. It will go of how we eat, when we eat, how is that circadian rhythm in our system. Not everybody has to do wake up at 6 a.m. Not every single person needs 8 to 9 hours sleep, by the way. Okay, some people really need the 9 hours sleep a night. Some people are okay with 6, like me, actually. So depending on understanding of your own physiological, biological energy forces that are in your default system will give you a tremendous value of your self-awareness, understanding, and therefore adjustment of millions of different things in your life, in your lifestyle, that actually is suitable. Why is this also so important? So that you don't fail at things. When people start coming up with the New Year resolutions and they just fail by January 14th, they have already forfeited it like 2 times. Okay? And that's because they come up with things that are just innately not harmonious with their system. Okay, so they actually go back to their default system sooner. So therefore, if you adjust yourself to your default system, and so we can measure this, it's a measurable based on percentages of energy forces, which will do the assessments here for you right now, being December the 12th. I've got 15% off on all services across the board. So if you go onto my website at www.wellnesswavecreations.com, or you go to my Facebook page, or you go check my Instagram page, then you will find me there, and then you can send a message and I can book you in to do your constitutional assessment, your wellness code. And you know what? There's nothing better that you can give anybody as a gift than this, because this is for the rest of their lives. This information does not change. The Constitution is it. So therefore, once we understand this default system, then if you have imbalances, problems, ailments, diseases, whatever you have, or just some other things that are just not going to happen for you in your life, you're just not able to align, and you have, you have the willingfulness to explore as to why that is or what causes these problems, then please, I ask you to get a constitutional assessment. Currently, it's rolled at $222 on my website, and that's 15% off. You will deduct from that $222. Okay, so this is what I wanted to tell you guys, and I hope that this will help for you to understand about Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vata being air and ether, once again, Pitta being mostly fire with some water, and Kapha being water and earth energetics. That perfect bucket of wet sand from which you can make this perfect sand castle. That would be the perfect physiology for Kapha. Of course, you then need to understand that, for example, most mental diseases are caused by Vata going up a lot, or by a major frequency differentiation between your body and mind. So there's all kinds of cool things that I can teach you here in this Ayurvedic space, and the idea is not for you to keep coming back to me. The idea is me teaching you how to evaluate and assess you and be your own counselor, be your own health, wellness, consult your own guideline, your own doctor, and then that way you always will need to adjust yourself in accordance to your constitution, and that will be a lifetime of a gift to anybody and yourself. All right, so this was it today, and let me just maybe see my notes. I think I could talk about this forever and ever and ever, but I want to keep these videos under 20 minutes as a commitment on my YouTube channel. So therefore, I hope that you resonate with the messages. Then please subscribe, follow, like. It supports the channel. It supports me to be able to get these messages across the globe to as many human beings as possible. And I hope that you guys are enjoying your holiday season, whatever you celebrate, and have a nice peaceful time with family, friends, get-togethers, as this is a really social time. At least it is for me. I'm hoping to put myself together after this little bit of a whatever I picked up after so many years of never even being sick. Well, I managed to get something a couple of days ago, but I'm already feeling so much better just in about 2 days, 3 days of time. So namaste. Thank you so much for joining my channel and being here and being part of my Vibe Tribe. All right. Namaste. Bye-bye. Adios.